After high school and during college, I was a summer camp counselor. It was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Each summer, I would meet hundreds of students and parents. Children came eager to play and learn, and we were eager to teach. One of my favorite aspects of summer camp was teaching the kids songs, always with motions. And one of my favorite went, "I am a promise. I am a possibility. I am a promise with a capital P. I am a great big bundle of potentiality." And as we sang those words together, at 17 years old, I made myself a promise. I would see every single child as a promise, filled with potential, and I would never give up on them. And for as long as I can remember, I've been living out that promise daily. My name is Damaris Allen, and I'm the Executive Director of Families for Strong Public Schools, a graduate of Hillsborough County Public Schools and the parent of 2 Hillsborough County Public School graduates. When my oldest child began public school, I believed, like most parents, that he would have access to more opportunities than I did when I was in public school. No parent hopes that their child will have less. Over the course of my children's public school careers, I have watched year after year as the Florida legislature declared record investment while failing to keep up with inflation, essentially cutting funding and opportunities for our public school students. I have watched as their class sizes have continually increased, as elective courses were cut, as their favorite teachers had to leave the profession in order to make a living wage. Year after year, I have seen schools forced to do more with less. And while they are consistently rising to the challenge, they are breaking under this pressure. We have to ask ourselves, is this the future we want for our children? Is this the future we want for Florida? As we travel the state of Florida, speaking with parents, we consistently hear the same thing. We want strong, well-funded public schools. We want opportunities for our students to grow and learn. We want supports for our students with special needs. We want smaller class sizes, highly qualified teachers and support staff, bus drivers to drive our kids to school safely. We want our children to have more opportunities, not less. Our legislators, upon taking office, swear an oath to the Constitution. An oath is essentially a promise, but with greater weight. I have to wonder if they feel the weight of their commitment as they sit in committee meetings and budget negotiations. Do they hold in their minds the promise and the constitutional duty to fully fund public schools? Each year, I see the moral document that is our state budget, and I find myself believing that the answer is a resounding no. Today, we say enough. Our children deserve investment. Our children are a promise. They are the future of Florida, and they deserve better. Florida's children are a promise. They are a possibility. They are a promise with a capital P. Florida children are a great big bundle of potentiality, and it's in time for our state to invest in them. At this time, I would like to introduce Chantel Smith and Naomi.
Hello, my name is Chantel Smith, and I'm a parent of 3 kids who are all the product of the Florida Public Schools. My community is served by fantastic public schools with educators who work to ensure that every child feels welcomed with open arms. The teachers and education staff professionals at my daughter's middle school take seriously the collaboration between parents and educators. They make me feel like I am an active participant in my daughter's education every step of the way. My youngest child, Naomi, has special needs and has thrived in programs like dance, chorus, and color guard. Her school community has given her the space to grow and helped her express herself and blossom in ways that make me proud every day. Yet all over the county and my state, public schools are closing down. Decades of underfunding and means communities are losing valuable resources. As a parent, I am glad that parents have options when it comes to their children's education, but I am sure many of them would be surprised to learn that some schools can use our tax dollars and not have to share the information about the credentials of their teachers. And they don't have to accommodate children with special and additional needs. Our public schools remain the top choice for our families and in our communities and communities throughout the state. I can't imagine the impact that a closing school would have on our family. The process made in years would be wiped out. Too many families are faced with that choice. What happens to kids with special needs when their educators are forced to leave their profession? What happens to neighborhoods when schools close down? We need to make sure our public schools are protected and strengthened. When public schools have the resources they need, they can help countless students succeed. Every parent wants that for their child at the end of the day.
At this time, I would like to introduce Reverend Dr. Rufus L. Wood, Jr., Pensacola Minister and Religion Chair for the FCS NAACP.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Dr. Rufus L. Wood, Jr. I'm very honored and humbled to serve as the first Vice President for the Florida State Conference NAACP, also as the Religious Affairs Chair. Also, I have been a minister, pastor for better than 40 years. Also, on behalf of Reverend James Golden and the pastors for Florida Children, they were not able to be with us today, but they certainly stand with us. We believe that education is essential. We believe that the purpose of education is to give our children the knowledge, the skills, and the tools that they need to excel and to maximize their full potential, and to help them to develop intellectually, emotionally, as well as socially. The distinguished educator, scientist, and humanitarian, Dr. George Washington Carver once said that education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom, and we concur. This suggests that learning is the ultimate tool for empowering our children to overcome poverty, ignorance, as well as oppression. Without education, unfortunately, people remain trapped and they remain locked in ignorance, in manipulation, as well as limited thinking. We believe that every child deserves and should have a free, high quality, and equitable funded education here in the state of Florida. And of course, the Constitution of the state of Florida says that education is a chief duty of the state. It should be uniform, it should be high quality, as well as it should be free. So we've come to Tallahassee today to call upon our legislators. We'll call upon them to strengthen public education as opposed to dismantling it, to invest in public education as opposed to undermining it. We are calling on our legislators today to provide the necessary resources for public schools. They need financial resources. Money matters. Yes, money matters. And the money should be spent equitably as well as effectively. We're asking our legislators to stop robbing our children and to stop giving public money to private educational industries, and to stop demanding of school districts as well as schools to do more with less. We also ask our legislators to invest in the human resources for our children. Thank God for those who work in the system. They're human capital. Thank God they are vital assets. But we need to take care of our educators, our teachers. I'm talking about the people that have the skills, the knowledge, the experience, and the talents to help our children to excel. We're asking them to take care of our teachers. Too many of our teachers are having to go in their pockets to invest even for their classrooms. Many are choosing to go to other professions. Many are even leaving the state. So we're asking our legislators to invest in the human resources. We're asking them to invest in the technological resources, provide the best digital tools for our schools, for the teaching as well as for the learning. So as I conclude today, I think of the words of the African proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. That suggests that it takes all of us. It takes parents, it takes educators, it takes members of the faith-based community, it takes members of the sororities and the fraternities, members of community-based organizations, citizens throughout the various communities, as well as our lawmakers to make it work. We should all stand and work together. We've come to Tallahassee to say that we are committed to defend, to support, and to strengthen public education, and we're pleading with our legislators to stand with us. Finally, give our children the power. Give them the educational power. There's power in education. Give them the educational power. We understand power. We understand nuclear power. We understand solar power. We understand wind power. We understand electrical power. We understand military power. We understand financial power. Yes, and we even understand legal power. But today we're asking our legislators to give our children the educational power that they need to be the best that God has called them to be, so that they can maximize their full potential. Thank you. God bless you.
Next, we will have Lucia Bring Castro, a Miami-Dade public school student.
Good morning. My name is Lucia, and I attend the Title I high school in Miami-Dade. I stand before you today with confidence and conviction, a young woman prepared for the future and a proud product of the public education system. The academic environments I have inhabited, the teachers who have poured their passion into my development, and the communities of excellence I have been in have developed my identity into who I am today. As I stand before you today, I am a testament to what public schools can achieve. The detrimental effects of legislation are sometimes intangible in discussion, but I am here to tell you that the consequences on the ground are tangible and they are immediate. I am here to bridge the gap between policy decisions and what is currently happening within our classrooms. We are witnessing the reduction or outright elimination of academic electives, competitive coursework, and enrichment programs. The displacement of veteran educators whose years of expertise and proven student gains are being sacrificed to budget cuts. School closures that force students to take commutes that are longer than needed, and further displacing those who are at risk. Resources removals for needy and marginalized students who thrive on what they have at school. At my own school, these are not hypothetical what-ifs, but part of our current reality. As many schools throughout Miami, we suffer from a chronic shortage of substitute teachers that forces our remaining faculty to merge schedules and perform double the labor with little resources. We have had to let go of veteran teachers and their expertise, which has limited how we manage and give a fully diversified curriculum. This has caused tensions and anxieties amongst faculty and students alike. My teachers stress out about managing their workloads and their work schedules, while my peers are anxious about whether or not they'll be able to take the curriculum they need for their future. In an effort to adapt, my school sought to expand and remodel as a magnet school to attract new talent and foster growth. Yet, because we possessed the space for this expansion, we became target to a charter corporation. Under the Schools of Hope statute, an elementary school is being co-located into our high school campus within the next academic school year. This decision places an unsustainable burden on our overexerted facilities. Our security personnel and our janitorial staff must now divide their attention between two distinct populations. They are forced to do double the work with minimal aid for their new tasks. Furthermore, it raises a significant safety and logistical concern. Do you want your elementary school students to share space with high schoolers? Our resources are already spread thin, and now they are being decimated. The American dream we are all promised is rooted in public education. Universal access to education serves as a powerful machine for social mobility. It bridges the opportunity gap for marginalized communities and ensures that every student has the agency to define their future. When we remove funds from public education, we are essentially telling millions across our state that they are not good enough for that dream. My request today is clear. I urge our elected officials to champion our public schools through investment. In the coming weeks, as you deliberate on the budget, you have the opportunity to enact a fiscal plan that will prioritize the future of Florida students. Don't let another year go by without showing us you truly care. Thank you.
Next, we will have Kim Ward, a Leon County ESP.
Hi, my name is Kim Andrews Ward, and I'm a behavior specialist in the Leon County school system. I'm proud to say that I have been in my career in public education supporting our students for over 26 years. The students who I work with have the greatest needs and require consistency and dedication. But in too many communities, including right here in Tallahassee, down the street where legislatures make their decisions on behalf of all of us, we have a hard time retaining education staff professionals because of low wages. In Florida, you have to work a second or third job in order to make ends meet. Over 60% of the educational staff professionals make less than $35,000 a year. That's a disgrace here in the state of Florida. Professionals entering into this field, they have to weigh the cost of paying bills and supporting themselves and their families or staying in this profession. What an unfair proposal. What happens when our students don't have the professionals they need in their neighborhood public schools? Their families put them out, believing that private schools are often for them or not for them. But as it turns out, these other school systems don't have to accommodate any kids with the IEPs or any special needs. They don't have to honor or even deal with the IEPs. They often have to deal with us, the behavior specialists, when they return to the school system, because they don't have the same accountability and transparency measure the public school system have, despite the fact that they are still funded by our taxpayer dollars. So today in Leon County, there are kids who are left behind by the voucher school system, who are told they don't belong there, and who oftentimes, after the first 9 weeks, they have to return back to the same public school system. We're still here. We're still dealing with them, but we have to go back and start all over with them because their and their funds have left the public school system. The money that gets funded out of the public school system oftentimes does not come back to us. And in our process, our kids lose out. The educators are here to help to inspire you. We're still here waiting, even though their money and that student may have left us, and we have to deal with their behaviors and their issues when they return. We as public school system employees, we are committed to our students 100%, and we ask that our state be committed to those as well. We need action right now. Everybody say right now. Right now. We need a uniform system that ensures that all our kids are supported and that our educators are supported and that our community can thrive right here in Tallahassee. This is Leon County, the capital of Florida. We should not be up here with this. This is a disgrace. Legislation must lead the charge with us for our students and our family. And our students cannot wait any longer. Thank you.
Next, we will have Ladera Royal, an Orange County teacher.
My name is Ladera Royal, and I have been an educator for over 10 years. Let me tell you about the work of public school teachers and educators. Just this weekend, I was supporting students who were receiving their dual enrollment Associates of Arts degrees. with whom I have worked with for over the past 4 years. Most of them will be first-generation college students, first to go to college in their families. I watched tears in their parents' eyes as they watched their child receive a college degree while in high school. Every day, our educators show up to inspire children from all walks of life. They guide, they mentor, they support, and they give themselves so that children across the state can grow to be the best versions of themselves. In your neighborhood schools, children have the opportunity to explore careers they never thought they would have access through programs and partnerships and community-based organizations, and through career and college readiness programs like the ones that I lead, which help first-generation, rural, and low-income students prepare for a future they might not have thought was even possible. Our public schools help provide dual enrollment programs that help students and their families chart a pathway towards college that they may not have known even existed. Teaching is both an art and a science. It is not a side gig. It is not an entry-level professional career that you can just jump into. It takes skill, it takes practice, and mastery to meet the needs of diverse learners and gifted modalities. As educators, we help students see above the horizons from where they come from, even when they don't see it within themselves. And in my school alone, our kids have felt empowered and uplifted to apply for places like FAMU, FSU, Yale and Stanford, Northwestern, Brown, UF Howard, Amherst, Middlebury, and so many others that they were accepted to. The possibilities of a public school education are endless, but they are not possible if our lawmakers are not investing in the future of our students. In Orange County, where I teach, public school students are being faced with real challenges that are directly related to a state budget that does not support them, salaries that does not support their educators, and a changing dynamic that is seeing our schools close, our cost of living rise, our experienced educators leaving the profession, and our students are the ones paying the price. There is a growing gap in aptitude for our students, and is directly tied to the lack of resources and support going into our schools. Florida ranks 47th nationally in SAT and ACT scores across our state, but yet our state officials are doing nothing to address it. Our students are not succeeding in math and reading. I worked in higher ed, and I saw firsthand what happens when kids are not supported in K-12. They head to college or their university. They come to higher education not ready to thrive. When we look at the challenges our public schools face, and then realize that every single year, $5 billion are siphoned out of public schools toward other systems that are often run by for-profit and corporate companies in the state that are less accountable, less transparent. We quickly then realize the inequities in our system that are at stake. Now, every parent wants to do right by their child. There is no doubt. They deserve to know that if their child has an IEP or a 504 or any needs that needs additional support or assistance, a private or charter school does not have to accept them. Amen. They deserve to know that their public taxpayer dollars aren't going to fund public schools, but instead are going to fund out-of-state corporate-run systems that manage many charter and private schools. I will end with this. When we elect our officials, we expect and we entrust them to represent the interests, causes, and policies that will be for the benefit and the greater good of our communities. We did not send them to Tallahassee to gut and defund our public schools. We did not send them to Tallahassee to take away resources from our institutions at the expense of our children and public school educators, taking away our precious resources. We sent them here hoping that they would address the housing and rent prices, the rising insurance costs, and to ensure adequate funding for our public schools, which are still the backbones of our communities. It is time for our lawmakers and elected officials to put their money where their mouth is. If they care about public education, like they say they do, fund it. And don't allow unaccountable systems to take away resources from our public schools. Thank you.
Next, we will have Sarah Healy, a Hillsborough County Public School parent.
My name is Sarah Healy, and I'm the parent to 3 public school students in Florida. I'm also the product of public schools myself. When I was growing up, I loved school. This is the place where I found peace and support and educators who truly cared about me. My public schools provided me opportunities that my family couldn't, and I was able to grow and learn well past my childhood as a result. For my own children, public schools and their district magnet school have helped them to thrive. And while their teachers pour themselves into their work, I can tell they're frustrated. They're overburdened and vilified by the very people whose responsibility it is to support them. They don't get the support they deserve as a critical part of a foundational building block of our society. Yet they still show up. They still show up like they showed up for me all those years ago, with love and grace and compassion. It feels like legislators in Tallahassee are making a conscious effort to underfund and dismantle public education. And it's confounding to me that public education has even become a political conversation. It's not political to ensure educators have the resources they need to educate kids. It's not political to ensure that educators are supported and actually have the ability, the time, and the resources to care about kids as individuals. There are so many kids who need our public schools just like I did. And our state's constitution declares that educating those kids is a fundamental value of the people of Florida, making it a paramount duty of the state to ensure adequate provision for all of Florida's children. It is time to invest in our students. Cada niño merece una gran educación pública. Es un parte fundamental de la sociedad y es tiempo que apoyamos a nuestros maestros, nuestros padres y nuestros estudiantes.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Spar. I'm a parent, an elementary music teacher, and president of the Florida Education Association. You just heard from some amazing parents, educators, community leaders, and a student who spoke about their experiences in Florida's public schools and how they are frustrated and tired of being ignored. I want to thank each of you for being here today and sharing your experiences. Today is Teacher Appreciation Day. Teachers and staff across Florida are in classrooms focused on what matters, our children and grandchildren. They are preparing students for the next chapter in their life. May is a time in which we celebrate all of the accomplishments of our students. We have milestones where elementary students are moving on to middle school students are moving on to high school, and high school students are graduating and moving into their career after they finish some amazing programs in Florida's public school career and tech programs, like in Columbia County, where I recently saw an amazing welding program, or in Baker County, where I saw a high-level electrical program, or in Lee County, where I saw a fantastic nursing program. While other high school students will move on and go to college or university's level after completing one of Florida's public schools' AP programs, IB programs, Cambridge programs, or dual enrollment or other programs. Our public schools are working hard every day to prepare students for a bright future. And And as we heard today, Florida's families are struggling, including our educators. They are facing stagnant wages, increased grocery prices, gas at over $4 a gallon and rising, rent that is skyrocketing, health care that is breaking the bank, and an education system in crisis. Lawmakers and this governor have had years to correct course and address the needs of everyday Floridians. But instead, they have turned their backs on the people of Florida, the people who make Florida run, and they have failed the future of this state, Florida's students. That is why today we have launched the Fund Our Future, Invest in Our Students movement, led by parents, students, faith leaders, educators, business owners, community leaders, and others. This movement is about demanding accountability, transparency, and fairness for taxpayers' money and for how it's spent in the education of Florida's students. To kick off this movement, today we announce that we have filed suit against the state of Florida. The citizens of this great state have enshrined in our Constitution that the state, quote, shall make adequate provisions for a uniform, efficient, safe, secure, and high-quality system of free public schools, end quote, for every student. As a parent, I have experienced the amazing work of our educators in public schools, but I have personally witnessed the impact of this current crisis, a crisis created by bad policy, underfunding, and failed leadership. My own daughter, my youngest, is in 11th grade, and in 4 of the past 5 years, she has failed to have a full complement of teachers all year. In 7th grade, her science teacher left in the middle of the year. In 8th grade, her dance teacher left in the final quarter of the year. In 9th grade, she didn't have an English teacher for the first 10 weeks of school. And this year, in 11th grade, her anatomy teacher left partway through the year, and she went about 6 weeks without an anatomy teacher. These disruptions in learning are far too common in Florida and literally impact hundreds of thousands of students every day. As parents, educators, and voters in this state, we call on lawmakers to act. In fact, this year, the state auditor generals issued a report. I believe there were 17 recommendations for this state to act on to ensure transparency, uniformity, and accountability for billions of dollars of taxpayer money that is being diverted away from Florida's public schools. And once again, the citizens of this state had their hopes of corrective action dashed when lawmakers adjourned and failed to pass one piece of legislation that would address the crisis in public schools. And in fact, they adjourned without having to do the one constitutional requirement they have, which is to pass a budget. And in fact, in the building behind this one, the tall building we know as the Capitol, lawmakers will be back next week. And we have to ask the question, will lawmakers act now and pass a budget to support the public schools where the overwhelming majority of Florida students get their education? Or will they continue that pattern of underfunding and diverting billions of dollars away? This lawsuit is a last resort. We cannot wait for another year. We cannot wait for other elected officials. Our students cannot lose one more day of education. Let me be clear. This lawsuit is about enforcing the Constitution of this great state. This lawsuit is about ensuring that every parent, regardless of the method they use to ensure their child's education, has accurate, honest, and complete information and is supported at the highest level. We know that education is the foundation of our democracy, the foundation of every community, and the engine for our economy. Parents want strong public schools. Businesses want strong public schools. And voters want strong public schools. Florida's policymakers must work with us to strengthen, not abandon, our neighborhood public schools. Now, for those of you in the media, I have a request for you. I want to ask you to put every candidate, every policymaker on the record. Where do they stand on public education? Where do they stand on transparency, accountability, and a basic level of educational standards for all taxpayers, all taxpayer-funded education programs? Floridians want to be able to provide their families. They want to be able to provide for the economic well-being of their families, the health of their families, and the education of their children and grandchildren. As parents, we want what is best for our children. We need policymakers to stand with us.